I mean, what's worse than that? Okay, so my father died when I was 25 years old, and it happened right when I was in chiropractic college studying neuroanatomy to take my final, and I had to take a final exam knowing my father was gone, but I did it, and I took it, and I passed it, and I didn't care about the exam because my father had died. So now we go to the wake, and I'm standing in front of my father's casket, and this was the greatest loss I ever had in my life. And again, I was trying to understand that there's something good that's supposed to come from a loss. I'm not saying I was glad that my father had passed on. What I'm saying is I know that you can call it God, Buddha, infinite wisdom. I don't care what you name the spiritual beingness that runs the planet. But I knew that there was something that I was supposed to receive for my loss. Does everybody understand that the law of karma is that you never lose something without getting something back? And you have to understand this is real. So I'm standing over my father's body, and I'm praying to God and to my father to tell me what it was I was supposed to learn from your death today. Because I knew I was supposed to learn something, because when God takes a loved one, they give you something back. And I stood there quietly, and I let it come in. And the message that I got from my father was that you have to live every day on your own terms. There are no rules. And if I don't want to do something, I shouldn't do it. And if I don't like what I'm doing, I should stop doing it. And I should never work a job I don't like. I should never hang around with people I don't like. And from the day I heard that, it stayed in my mind. And for my whole life, that's how I've lived. So the loss of my father, what I got the gift from him was I learned how to appreciate everything I have. And if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. And it's that simple. And I know you may say, yeah, but you can't. Yeah. No, it is that simple. If you're with people you don't like, turn your back on them and get away from them. I mean it. If somebody in your family is disrespecting you and you're trying to love them and they won't let you love them, turn your back on them. I'm not saying don't love them. I'm saying don't let them ruin you. If something in your life is not going well, if you're in a career you don't like, if you're with somebody you don't love, you got to change. You got to change, because if you don't, you're going to die. And I learned that at 25 when my father died. That's what my father taught me as he died, because he gave me that answer. So my point is that no matter how bad it gets, you could always rise above it if you change your attitude. And that's why attitude is so important. Okay? Does everybody got the attitude thing? And don't just yes me to death. Let it sink in and start practicing the positive attitude, because this is real. Okay. Moving along. 100% of mega achievers are submissive to a group or individual. In other words, they are accountable to someone. No matter how important they are, no matter how successful they are, we all need to be accountable to somebody, because being accountable to somebody keeps us in check and keeps us learning. So they are relational and communal. They trust the team that they're part of. So if you're part of a group, now this is a good group. We're all part of a group, right? We should trust each other, we should help each other, and we should embrace each other. And if we all learn how to really work with each other intimately, the group would grow as a group to a higher level, which is the whole purpose of groups. So this is a business networking group. If we all patronized each other, each one of us patronized each other, we would all succeed. Right? That's the idea. But the great thing is, if you think of the super wealthy, and these are the people making all that money, they do the same thing that we do, but they just do it on a different level, that's all. There are just different levels of success, that's all. It's like climbing a ladder. But they're on the same things that we are. But every single one of them, every mega successful person was subordinate to a fellow member of a group. So in other words, you can't be a loner. You can't think that you're the king of your own domain and that you run the world and that everybody's subservient to you. It doesn't work that way. We're all on the same existence. Some of us are going to work a little harder and achieve a little bit more, but we're all basically the same people with the same opportunities. Okay? All right. And then finally, achievers have a couple of different qualities to them. They defeat emotional combat. And like I had my own emotional combat as a kid, and I defeated it. Just on my own decision, on my own accord, and by my own choice. They financially decide how much money they want, and then they execute the system to achieve it. So if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, or $300,000 a year, or $500,000, whatever your goal is, it doesn't matter the amount of money. What makes the goal achievable is that you have to conceive it by putting it down on paper. You have to write down to yourself, I will figure a way to make X amount of dollars this year. Doesn't matter the amount of money either, by the way. But it should be something that you believe is realistically achievable. So if you sit down and say, I'm going to make $10 million this year, and you've never made more than $50,000 a year, that's not real for you. That's not going to happen. You have to be real to yourself. And then once you put down the amount of money you want to make, then you devise the plan to achieve that. Does everybody understand that the thought has to precede the action? It's not like you go out and just work crazy and you don't have a plan. You have to proceed to think about what you want first, and then the action will come to you about how to create what you want to create. That's what you guys don't know. That's actually the opposite of what you've been taught. You've been taught, work real hard and slave your whole life, and maybe you'll have some money on the back end. That's not the way it works. That's the misunderstanding that we've all been taught. That's not correct. It's 99% of your thoughts is what's going to get you what you want, and 1% of the action creates it. Now that for me was a big, when I learned that from Kevin, that was it for me. Because I was raised, you work real hard, and then you think about being successful. No. You think about being successful 99% of the time. It's your thoughts, your dreams, your attitude, and your aspirations, and then the work follows the success in your mind. There was this book that was put out by Napoleon Hill. It was called Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't work and grow rich. It was think and grow rich. So you were supposed to think about what you wanted, believe it, and then it would come to you. But by the time guys like Henry Ford got to that book and realized that the secrets were getting let out of the bag, because Henry Ford was in the Brotherhood, by the way, Henry Ford suppressed the information, had it edited out, so you didn't get the real copy. It was edited out to nothing, so you didn't know how to even do it. We never got the real information. It was edited out of the book by Henry Ford because he didn't want you to know the secrets about how to be super successful, because he was of the belief that he was in the elite class. He was a blue blood. You didn't deserve to have this information. Kevin Trudeau was with the Blue Bloods and thought you should have it, so he broke from the Brotherhood. In the history of the Brotherhood, nobody ever left the Brotherhood until Kevin Trudeau. He broke the ranks and left the Brotherhood and is now exposing the information equally to all of us, and that's what's in this tape series. And that's what's in these notes, and that's what I'm paying to get myself, that you guys should be getting. And I'm giving it to you as quickly as I can without you throwing me out of here. Because it takes time, but if I get you excited and realizing you can change your lives, maybe you'll change your lives. You know, maybe you'll do it. Okay, so achieve is after they decide on the plan, they then do the plan. So first they dream the plan, then they do the plan. They don't do the plan, then dream the plan. It's got to be in that order. Dream first, do next. Okay. Support yourself with the right language. Eliminate the words but and eliminate the words try. There is no try. Like from Star Wars, when Han Solo, he's raising the ship out of the ocean, or Yoda is telling Han Solo how to raise the ship out of the ocean, and Han says, all right, I'll try. He goes, no, there is no try, there's do. There's do. So if I ask you, hey, how you doing on your program this week? I'm trying. You just flunked. You just flunked. You're not doing anything. You're lying to yourself. There's no trying. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it. That's it. And if I ask you, hey, did you go home and read that book that we said we were going to talk about reading today? Did you read those 10 pages on that one subject? Well, I was going to do it, but I got busy. No. You flunk. There's no but. Because everything that you intend to do, you do every day. And everybody's in control of their own day. And we all have the same 24 hours a day and 168 hours a week. Don't tell me you don't have time. You're making excuses. Or you're not ready to confront what you need to confront to get better. And that's okay, because we all travel at our own pace. Please don't tell me that you have no time. Because we all have time. It's what you do with the time. There's so much time. There's so much of it. You're wasting so much of it because you're complaining about not having enough of it. It's funny. Okay. And the last thing about this is remember the 5-minute rule. What's the 5-minute rule? The 5-minute rule is every once in a while you're going to feel like quitting. You're going to feel like throwing the hat in. I'm done with this. I've been at this for so many years. Nobody's listening. Nobody's changing. I quit.